Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the news at 6 on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira, and other headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls ties with Germany a partnership made for each other. Both countries signed 12 agreements on cooperation in various fields. Crucial development in the 1992 Babri Masjid case. Special CBI court files criminal conspiracy charges against senior BJP leaders L.K. Advani, Murli Manohar Joshi, Uma Bharti and 9 others. Monsoon arrives in Kerala and northeast 2 days before normal onset date. Investors cheer early rains with markets continuing their record-setting streak for yet another session. Sensex and Nifty end at lifetime highs. Death toll in Sri Lankan torrential rains climbs to 200. Indian Navy diving and medical teams joined rescue efforts in many flood-hit areas. Over 500,000 people displaced. Well, post-Brexit and the uncertainty in American policies under the Trump administration, India showed all possible cooperation to Germany for a stronger and result-oriented European Union. Germany also expressed confidence in India's growth trajectory. This was after Prime Minister Narendra Modi met German Chancellor Angela Merkel in Germany today. After the talks, Prime Minister Modi left for Madrid for his next summit.
India and Germany on Tuesday held the fourth intergovernmental consultation, chaired jointly by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and German Chancellor Angela Merkel. While Modi called the relationship between the two giants of Asia and Europe made for each other, Merkel said she counted on India as a reliable partner. After the conclusion of talks, India and Germany signed 12 MOUs to strengthen the development partnership between the two countries. The MOUs included cooperation in digitization, skill development, finance, education, health sector, alternative medicine, setting up Foreign Service Institute, commerce, heavy industries, railway, and sustainable urban development. The agreements are aimed at benefiting from the manufacturing capability of Germany for use in India's Make in India.
यूरोपियन यूनियन में के समक्ष जो अपॉर्चुनिटीज हैं तथा जो चुनौतियां हैं उसकी भी विस्तार से हमने समीक्षा की है। पार्टनरशिप का महत्व दोनों देशों के लिए तो लाभ करता है ही है, लेकिन ये पार्टनरशिप वैश्विक संदर्भ में भी किस प्रकार से उपयोगी हो, उस दिशा में भी हमारी चिंतन की धारा रही है।
We have established a solar partnership with India, and it's been impressive to see the way in which India has been speeding up the expansion of solar energy in its country. We've had a very intensive exchange of views on this. So we have expanded and deepened our close bilateral cooperation in a number of areas.
Modi and Merkel also talked in detail about the prevailing global situation, including reforms in the United Nations, then Nuclear Suppliers Group and climate change. They also discussed the situation in Europe after Britain's exit from the European Union.
जर्मन निवेश तथा मैन्युफैक्चरिंग से जुड़ रहा है। बहुत तेजी से फॉरेन डायरेक्ट इन्वेस्टमेंट में जर्मनी का कंट्रीब्यूशन हमारे यहाँ बढ़ रहा है। मिडलस्टोन कंपनीज पर मैं विशेष फोकस करूंगा कि उन्होंने हमारे यहाँ काफ़ी कंट्रीब्यूशन किया है और काफ़ी मात्रा में किया है। स्किल इंडिया मिशन उसको सक्सेस बनाने में जर्मन की पार्टनरशिप बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है।
India and Germany are enjoying the best of relationship currently, driven closer by the uncertainty in US policies towards Europe and Chinese assertion on the One Belt, One Road. Modi and Merkel also dwelt on how to deal with the polarization in the world and terrorism. There is already a great deal of intelligence sharing on terrorism between the two countries, with the two leaders pledging to deepen it further. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, in other news now, in a crucial development in the 1992 Babri Masjid case, a special High Court has filed criminal conspiracy charges against senior BJP leaders LK Advani, Murli Manohar Joshi, Uma Bharti and 9 others accused. The leaders were present in court and argued against the framing of charges, but their discharge petition was rejected. Here are the details.
Veteran BJP leader LK Advani making his second court appearance in 25 years in the Babri Masjid case. Accompanied by co-accused party leaders Murli Manohar Joshi and Uma Bharti, the three were granted bail along with the others accused on a personal bond of 20,000 rupees each.
मैंने आंदोलन में भागीदारी की है। मैं 6 दिसंबर को अयोध्या में मौजूद थी और ये भागीदारी खुली हुई थी और इसमें तो भाजपा के करोड़ों कार्यकर्ता, लाखों अधिकारी और हजारों नेता शामिल हुए हैं। ये तो खुला आंदोलन था, जैसे इमरजेंसी के खिलाफ आंदोलन हुआ था वैसा था ये तो। अब इस आंदोलन में क्या साजिश थी मुझे पता नहीं ना अभी, तो माननीय कोर्ट को मैं मानती हूँ, तो मैं तो कोर्ट का सम्मान रखने के लिए आ गई हूँ।
But the relief was short-lived as soon after the special CBI court in Lucknow ruled that the leaders would be charged with criminal conspiracy.
हमने डिस्चार्ज की एप्लीकेशन 12 लोगों की तरफ कि इनके खिलाफ 120 की कोई एविडेंस नहीं है, लेकिन क्योंकि ऑनरेबल सुप्रीम कोर्ट का ऑर्डर है कि लोअर कोर्ट इसमें चार्ज फ्रेम करे तो लिया जाए, उसमें उन्होंने उस एप्लीकेशन को खारिज करके इन सब के खिलाफ चार्ज फ्रेम कर दिया है।
LK Advani and 11 other leaders are now accused under Section 120B with 153, 153A, 295, 295A and 505 of the IPC, which includes criminal conspiracy, promoting enmity between different groups and injuring or defiling a place of worship with intent to insult the religion. While the opposition questioned the feasibility of Uma Bharti continuing as a union minister, BJP leaders maintain Advani and others did no wrong.
आरोपित लोगों में एक केंद्रीय मंत्री माननीय उमा भारती जी भी हैं। आरोपित होने के बाद उन्हें अपने पद पर बने रहने का अधिकार नहीं और उन्हें अपने पद से फौरन इस्तीफा देना चाहिए।
Their manipulation to distort justice has not succeeded. So now they should be charged. I mean, there should be no further delay. There should be no further delay, no, because the amount of time that you have lost already, that is itself is denial of justice.
इनके कहने या न कहने से राम मंदिर वहाँ बनेगा या नहीं बनेगा, ये उसकी सुनवाई नहीं है। ये सुनवाई है कि किसी ढांचे को या बाबरी मस्जिद को साजिशाना और लोगों को अलग करने के लिए, धार्मिक दुर्भावना फैलाने के लिए इन्होंने वो ढांचा तोड़ा या बाबरी मस्जिद तोड़ी कि नहीं तोड़ी।
This is a legal process. Let it happen, and we are sure our leaders, they are innocent. They will come out unscathed in the entire thing.
A CBI court had in 2001 dropped the conspiracy charges against the accused, and the Allahabad High Court upheld the judgment in 2010. But the Supreme Court on April 19, 2017 revived the conspiracy charges and directed the special CBI court to frame charges and conclude the trial in 2 years. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, monsoon arrived on the Kerala coast today, 2 days before the normal onset date. According to the Met Department, monsoon is likely to remain active for the next 4 days and advance into most of Kerala and parts of Tamil Nadu in the next 24 hours. Earlier this month, the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, which are the first areas to receive monsoon rains, received rainfall 6 days ahead of schedule. Monsoon has also hit parts of northeast India, including Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram and Arunachal Pradesh due to cyclone Mora over the Bay of Bengal, which aided the advancement of seasonal rainfall. The Met Department has predicted higher than average rainfall this year as the weather phenomenon El Nino has eased to moderate level. Cyclone Mora got the rains early in India's northeast but has wreaked havoc in neighbouring Bangladesh. At least 6 people were killed after the severe cyclonic storm made landfall along the southeastern coast of Bangladesh today. More than 200 houses were destroyed and trees uprooted in Chittagong and other coastal areas. Under the cyclone's impact, rain and thunder showers are likely to occur at many places in Odisha. Fishermen have been warned against venturing into the sea. Well, the stock markets continued their record-setting streak with the Sensex and Nifty ending at lifetime highs. The high came on account of the early arrival of monsoon. The BSE Sensex gained over 50 points to end at a new peak of 31,159.40, while the broader Nifty spurted almost 20 points to finish at 9,624.55. Monsoon rains hit Kerala and the northeast on Tuesday, 2 days before the normal onset date, boosting optimism about a rebound in the rural economy. Monsoon showers are expected to bring cheer to farmers, especially from the drought-hit states of Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Karnataka. More than 50% of the country's farmers rely on monsoon for growing their produce. Well, in other news now, the Madurai bench of the Madras High Court has stayed the operation of statutory rules notified by the centre banning the sale and purchase of cattle for slaughter. The court passed the order on a PIL that challenged the constitutional validity of the rules notified by the centre. The petition was filed on the grounds that the statutory rules were repugnant to the Parent Act itself, since Section 28 of the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act of 1960 specifically states that it shall not be an offence to kill any animal in a manner required by the religion of any community. The petition also claims that the PCA Act permits slaughter of animals as well as sale of animals for slaughter. The petitioner also contends that the new rules offend the right to freedom of religion and the protection of interests of minorities guaranteed by the Constitution. Meanwhile, the centre is examining representations given by states and other organizations on the recent ban. These rules were notified in the backdrop of observations made by the Supreme Court and a parliamentary committee on preventing cruelty to animals and breaking nexus in animal markets, including smuggling. The Environment Ministry, which had notified the rules last week, received 13 representations on them. Meanwhile, curfew-like restrictions were in force in parts of Kashmir for the third day in a row on Tuesday to prevent a separatist march to Tral in Pulwama district. Separatists also appealed to the people to march to Tral to pay tributes to slain Hizbul Mujahideen terrorist Sabzar Bhatt and his colleague. Bhatt was killed in an encounter with security forces along with 9 other terrorists last week. Shops, colleges, schools and business establishments remained closed across Kashmir and traffic was off roads. The authorities deployed huge contingents of police and paramilitary forces across the valley to enforce strict restrictions. The Srinagar-Jammu highway was also closed over separatists' protest call. Meanwhile, in another development, the National Investigative Agency continued to interrogate 3 separatist leaders for the second day in connection with a case related to Pakistan funding. Earlier this month, the NIA questioned them in the national capital for 4 consecutive days. Well, Pakistan has reportedly claimed that Indian national Kulbushan Jadav is providing crucial intelligence about the recent terrorist attacks in the country. Nafiz Zakaria, Pakistan Foreign Office spokesperson, had revealed this to Dawn News in an interview. However, Zakaria did not elaborate on the details of the information being provided by Jadav. Zakaria's statement came hours after the country's Attorney General Ashtar Ausaf had reportedly said that Pakistan had enough evidence to prove Jadav was a spy. The former Indian Navy officer is currently on death row in Pakistan, though his execution was stayed by the Hague-based International Court of Justice on May 18th. Well, here's a roundup of what else is making news across the country in Nationwide. Chemists held a one-day national strike, on Tuesday against new regulations on the sale of medicines. According to the All India Organization of Chemists and Druggists, the one-day strike was called as several of their representations to the government went neglected. The chemists are opposing online pharmacy, which they say threatens their business. Maoists torched a bus after asking passengers to descend in Chhattisgarh's Narayanpur district. After an encounter with the police, 7 Naxalites were arrested while the rest escaped. A combing operation was launched in the region to nab the attackers. Army Chief General Bipin Rawat on Tuesday met Myanmar State Councillor Aung San Suu Kyi. General Rawat also held talks with the top military officials. The Army Chief is on a 4-day visit to Myanmar to strengthen defence cooperation. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal on Tuesday sought a reply from Chief Secretary over the non-payment of dues to the vendors who provide medicine to government hospitals. The Chief Minister also directed officials to implement a system to prevent delays in payments. The move comes after the Delhi Hospital Suppliers Association wrote to the Chief Minister to clear their payments. The Supreme Court refused to stay the conviction of an IPS officer in the 2002 Bilkis Banu case. The court said there is no urgency for hearing the matter as the convicted officer has already undergone the sentence. The court listed the matter for hearing in the second week of July. Well, it's time for a short break now, but news and updates will continue on the other side. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Art arisen from a multi-hued cultural canvas. Tradition and cultural fervour dating back centuries. And encircling them all, there's a magic that awes. Embrace your nation's brilliant human warmth. Watch Colours of India, Sundays at 9:30 p.m. on Rajya Sabha television.
The sacred relics of Buddha were unearthed in Piprava in Uttar Pradesh. Buddhist monks from all over the world visit the National Museum to pay their respects. These charred bone fragments of Buddha are housed in the gold canopy gifted by the royal family of Thailand.
Welcome back. You're watching Rajya Sabha television. Well, the death toll due to floods and landslides in Sri Lanka climbed up to 200, even as authorities continue the rescue and relief operations. Indian Navy diving and medical teams also joined the rescue efforts in flood-hit regions. More than 500,000 people have been displaced due to the floods, the worst in the country in 14 years.
Sri Lankan authorities continue to struggle in flood-hit regions despite the arrival of international help. Hundreds have died in the flooding resulting from one of the worst spells of torrential rains in the country, which began last Friday. According to the country's Disaster Management Centre, the adverse weather condition has left more than 100 people injured and nearly 500,000 displaced. Although the weather has cleared in some areas, making way for people to return home, thousands are still stuck in relief camps with their homes completely destroyed or submerged.
කිසිම මිනිහෙක් ආවේ නැහැ. රජයේ නිලධාරියෙක්වත් කිසිම මිනිහෙක් ආවේ නැහැ. මේ අවට මිනිස් විතරයි ගොඩක් ඇවිල්ලා උදව් කර කන්න බොන්න දීලා සේරම හැමදේම කරේ.
Authorities are grappling with the scarcity of safe drinking water and have appealed for public assistance in cleaning up wells. They have also called on communities to come together to provide food and water to those affected. The weather department predicts that the rains will mitigate in the coming days, but windy and showery conditions are expected over the country.
විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ අවස්ථාවේදී කිසිම ભેදයකින් තොරව ජාති ආගම් කුල දේශපාලන පක්ෂපාත ભેදයෙන් තොරව ජනතාවගෙන් ඉල්ලනවා මේ විපතටපත් උදවියට
මේ ආපදාවලට පත්වෙච්ච අය සඳහා විශේෂ සහන යටතේ ණය ලබා දෙන්න විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ සඳහා බිලියන 2ක් පමණ වෙන් කරන ලෙස උපදෙස් දීලා තියෙනවා.
While extensive rescue operations are on, many bodies are found buried under the debris from the landslides. Indian Navy diving and medical teams have joined the rescue efforts and a contingent of more than 300 personnel are assisting.
මිනිසුන්ට ඒ පුරුද්ද දෙන්න බය නැහැ. දැන් මිනිස්සු ගෙවල් බඩු අස්පස් කරනවා. තියෙන ඉතුරු වෙලා තියෙන දේවල් සුද්ධ කරලා හොදලා ඒව කරගන්නවා. දැන් ආයි ගම් වතුරක් එයි කියන බයක් නැහැ. දැන් ඉතින් ආයි කාලයකට ගම් වතුරක් එන්නේ නැහැයි කියන විශ්වාසය තියෙනවා. මොකද මෙහෙම ගම් වතුරක් ආපුවම කාලයකට ආපුව.
Following India's lead in sending out emergency relief, more countries have started pledging assistance. This year's disaster is one of the worst ever calamities in Sri Lanka since the 2003 floods, which claimed 250 lives. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, South Korea's President Moon Jae-in has ordered a probe into the deployment of 4 more launchers of the THAAD anti-missile system. The Defence Ministry failed to inform the President of the latest development. The THAAD system was initially deployed in March with just 2 of its maximum load of 6 launchers. President Moon said he was shocked to hear that 4 additional launchers had been installed without being reported to the new government or to the public. President Moon has been an opposer of the system that has been brought in to counter North Korea's missile threat. The move had angered China as well. During his successful presidential campaign, Moon had called for a parliamentary review of the system. Moon advocates a more moderate approach to Pyongyang, even calling for engagement.
문 대통령은 정의용 안보실장으로부터 이 같은 사실을 보고받고 매우 충격적이라고 말했습니다. 문 대통령은 오늘 발사대 4기 추가 반입 경위에 대해 철저하게 진상 조사할 것을.
Well, 2 car bombs killed at least 27 people and wounded more than 80 in Baghdad early on Tuesday. In the first attack, a suicide bomber struck near a popular ice cream shop overnight, killing at least 13 people and wounding 40. Islamic State claimed the responsibility for the attack. Hours after the attack, a second car bomb exploded near one of the capital's main bridges, causing dozens of fatalities. No group claimed responsibility for the second bombing, but authorities said it bore the trademark of Islamic State. Iraqi forces are battling the Islamic State militants in Mosul. The 8-month-long battle is nearing its end, with the security forces driving out the militants from their strongholds. Iraqi authorities say the group is likely to increase attacks in the wake of military defeats. Here's a roundup of the other international news in Global Buzz. Australia will introduce tough new laws in an attempt to crack down on pedophiles from travelling overseas. The move aims to protect children in Southeast Asia from exploitation. Australian pedophiles are notorious for taking inexpensive vacations to nearby Southeast Asian and Pacific Island countries to abuse children there. A powerful earthquake hit the southeastern part of the Indonesian city, prompting people to flee from their homes. There were no reports of casualties so far. The US Geological Survey had put the magnitude of the quake at 6.9, although this was later reduced to 6.6 with a shallow depth of 9 kilometers. Manchester's Victoria railway station reopened on Tuesday after it was badly damaged in a suicide bombing that killed 22 people. Officials stood around the station after a wreath-laying ceremony for those who died in the blast on the night of the attack. The case of the two women charged with killing Kim Jong-nam, the half-brother of North Korea's leader, was transferred to a higher court in Malaysia on Tuesday. The move comes as a defense lawyer complained of not getting all the documents he requested. Nam was killed at the Kuala Lumpur airport on February 13. Well, moving on to some sports news now, and at the French Open, Australia's Nick Kyrgios advanced to the second round after a straight sets victory over Philippe Kohlschreiber of Germany on Tuesday. The world number 18 Kyrgios beat his German opponent 6-3, 7-6, 6-3 in 6 sets. World number 3 Stan Wawrinka also progressed to the next round with straight sets victory over Josef Kowalik of Slovenia. In the women's singles, British world number 7 Johanna Konta was shocked by Chinese Taipei's Su Wei She in the first round. Konta lost 6-1, 6-7, 4-6. Meanwhile, world number 1 and top-seeded Andy Murray will play his first round of the French Open against Andrei Kuznetsov of Russia. Murray has had a poor season with just one title won in Dubai. His record this year has been 16-7, and on clay it hasn't been all that great, with dismal showings in Monte Carlo, Madrid and Rome. Well, that's it on this newscast. Have a good evening.